Welcome to Living Teal at the Table with Fare, the destination to talk about anything and everything, but most of all food. Because we're here to make sure what you eat makes you feel great and never makes you sick. A seat at the table is brought to you by Fare, taking the fear out of food, one breakthrough at a time.
Well, we're back, and it is for myself, and I think for you, Tiffany, as well, one of our favorite months of the calendar because we both have sweet tooths. And I'm telling you, the candy runs wild, runs free during October. And would you share with us just what are your favorite candy treats?
Oh my gosh, Jason. I think that candy sustained me during my pregnancy. I had a very heavy sweet tooth during the pregnancy, which didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I love Swedish fish, gummy worms, equal opportunity, like sour candies, and chocolate. If we're going Hershey's, which is a little segue into our guest, I love Milk Duds. I don't know if they're a fan favorite, but I like those. And Rolos, which recently came up on a Ted Lasso episode, and I've been craving them ever since. So
Nice.
what about you? Any candy favorites?
I bounce around. So I was a stress eater for a long time. So back when I used to run campaigns, Twizzlers pull and peels, where you get that big like packet of Twizzlers. I'd be known to down, depending on how bad the pull numbers were for my candidate, like a bag a day. And I'm not talking about the thin bag. I'm talking about the thick, heavy bag. Going back in time, Smarties, Laffy Taffy, Blow Pops. Blow Pops helped me write my thesis because, you get the sugar charge, then you get the gum, and then you reload. And so it was just, those were wonderful. And then later on, Big League Chew. Couldn't get enough of the Big League Chew, the grape. I was never a tobacco guy, but Big League Chew, that was good stuff.
No, I didn't like Big League Chew. I liked, it was like fruit by the foot, like the measuring tape.
Yeah.
Bubblegum.
Oh yeah. That's really good
I like
stuff.
those.
All right. And before we jump into our guest, hey, what's the latest with your baby James? How's he doing?
He's great. He's great. We I know it's kind of last minute, but we're still trying to figure out his Halloween costume. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the infant costumes are animal related, like a dinosaur or a frog or something. Yeah. So he may be some sort of animal this year. We'll see. But I don't know if we'll be going trick-or-treating, but we will definitely be at our house when he's asleep, maybe, to be giving out candy and some non-food treats for our trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. Well, look, Halloween is the most special time of the year for children, and you get to enjoy it for the next couple of years because you get to dress James however you'd like as the mom, and like they don't really say anything. They're like, okay. But you, our guest today is someone who knows Halloween very, very well and knows candy even better. Please give a warm welcome to Kevin Boyd. Kevin works for the Hershey's Food Company. He is a food allergy dad, and he is someone who is very familiar with all of the great candies that we've been talking about, and we look forward to having him on. Kevin, welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great.
Kevin, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection to food allergies?
Sure. So my name's Kevin Boyd. I'm a scientist or a toxicologist, and more specifically by training. And I've done work in the past in pharmaceuticals and consumer products. And for the last 4 or 5 years, been at the Hershey Company in food. And I have 2 boys, but my oldest son has a peanut allergy. And that's sort of what got me interested in kind of exploring the food industry as a job path, but also specifically this work at Hershey with food allergy management and keeping consumers safe with food allergies, and kind of bringing that perspective as a food allergic parent to kind of, working on that 24/7 in food industry.
I mean, talk about a great hire for Hershey and for the food allergy community. Having you there is just it's just wonderful because you've lived the experience. And we find often with folks, if they don't know it firsthand, they don't understand just sort of the impact. And so we really appreciate you first coming on board with us today, but also for the great work you do at Hershey. And I have to ask is, Hershey is relatively close by to us here in Maryland, but we've got to believe like this town of Hershey, it's a company town. It's a great place. What's it like leading up into the days and the weeks leading up to Halloween? I just kind of feel like it's like Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for Christmas. Like Hershey is a place you want to go for Halloween. Like, tell us a little bit more. What's it like in Hershey?
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of strange because it's a very small town, but it's kind of, it's a tourist town essentially between the park and the factory and the museum. So obviously Candy is like the Super Bowl for the Hershey Company. So there's lots of activities around town with Candy and with all the Hershey entertainment and resorts. So Hershey Park does Hershey Park in the Dark. They have trick or treat paths and hunts and Halloween themed rides and lights and costumes. And we have Hershey Gardens. They'll do a pumpkin glow and hand out candy and different lights. And so it's nice. And then Pennsylvania as a whole has lots of little townships. So it's very themed. The fire department does a Halloween parade for the kids. There's a costume parade down Main Street. So it's kind of that old town feel, small, and lots of neat activities for kids and families.
That's awesome. I, as a kid, we used to go to Hershey Park for their Christmas light display. And then you get to go to the Hershey Museum, you take the little chocolate ride and you get to see how everything is made. So, but I've never been for Halloween. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah. But speaking of Halloween, how does your family manage Halloween with your son with peanut allergies? Do you have chat with your neighbors ahead of time on how to prepare? And I have to ask, are you going to be doing teal pumpkin? And any ideas? Yeah,
so our immediate neighbors know about his allergy just all the time, but we live in a pretty large subdivision, so we don't, we kind of just let him trick or treat normal for the most part. If he has a choice, someone puts out a basket, he has a choice to pick candy, he knows to pick the non-peanut, mostly Reese around here, so he knows to avoid those, pick the non-peanut items, and when he gets home, we sort through his stuff, so he doesn't eat while he's out trick-or-treating. When he gets home, we sort through it. And in the past, I used to take all the peanut candy in my previous job, take it all into work, right, and give it to everyone else. That's kind of pointless here because everyone has a ton. So usually just donate it to one of the neighbor kids, anything he can't have.
Sure.
And work through that. So we try to keep it kind of as normal as possible, at least through the exercise. And we usually have enough safe candy. We can supplement that with some other stuff, but it's not in shortage around here. So.
Sure.
Good options. As far as non-food, we put out stickers and tattoos and things like that. Also, we don't hand out peanut products, but still hand out candy that would be safe for him too.
Right. Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know, the Teal Pumpkin Project is a simple way to make trick-or-treating safer and more inclusive for those with food allergies. So placing a teal pumpkin on your doorstep signals that in addition to candy, you offer non-food items that are safe for all trick-or-treaters. And as Kevin mentioned, stickers, but also glow sticks, like playing cards, bubbles. I've seen crayons or markers and stencils. So that's, you can get creative with that. But we'll be doing that this year in our neighborhood.
Yeah, and we did it last year and it was fantastic. I did a table of Play-Doh and a table of everything else, tons of Hershey's products at the other table. And it was great. It was well received. And I had actually the first thing I've ever heard. And remember, I grew up with a milk allergy where I had to give away most of my Halloween candy to my brother. Was I had people like children saying or lying, "Hey, I have an allergy too. I want that Play-Doh." And I was just like, "Oh man, boy, this is a unique situation here." So, hey, getting back to your work at Hershey's. I mean, do you do anything fun at work around the Halloween holiday? I mean, to me, this strikes me as like, we talk about Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving for retail and for now online, but I got to imagine the whole month of October is just like, Black October for you guys. I mean, what's it like there? I mean, is there a sense of excitement knowing that you're going to bring so much joy and so much happiness to so many millions of children and their parents on the 31st? What's it like?
Yeah, so in terms of like the candies made, right? So that's ready to go for Halloween. So mostly it's kind of tracking, we have meetings tracking just like excitement to sales. We have a thing called Helping Hands, where we get to go help our retail employees stock shelves at Walmarts and grocery stores for the Halloween candy. And so that's kind of fun. It gives us a chance who are not involved in that day to day to just go out and it's fun. Consumers ask you questions who are just browsing in the store. You're just refilling candy. You get a sense of kind of what that's like. And then there's Halloween costume contests at work and things like that. So I remember in our group, our analytical lab takes it very seriously. I think they've won like 7 years in a row. They have a trophy. And the first year I was there, I started, I think, around mid-August. So I didn't know people that well by the time Halloween came, at least a lot of people. And I was walking up to work, and they were all dressed as the Beauty and the Beast characters, lining the entrance from the parking lot up to work. And they had dusters, feather dusters, they were waving at people. So I go in, and of course, I forgot my badge in the car that day. I had to go back through that and walk through twice, and they're singing, Be Our Guest twice. It was really embarrassing going through twice. But they take it very seriously, and as a group, have the whole theme, and we just have events like that make it fun and entertaining, and they talk about it for years, defending their title and things like that.
Well, so any preview for us? I guess you can't really preview it for the, there may be some Hershey folks listening, but I was going to say, can you give us at least a thematic direction?
Yeah, I honestly don't know what they're doing this year. I'm usually off that group from the analytical labs. They've done Kiss, South Park, Beauty and the Beast, Mr. Rogers, all kinds of stuff. And they get, the director of that group takes it very seriously. It's the centerpiece of whatever the most important character is in the theme. But they do a great job. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, group costumes can be a lot of fun. Maybe we should do a group costume with James and make it more fun that way. Kevin, so of course, food allergies are important year round, not just around Halloween. And I believe Hershey's has a good safety record for food allergies, although you could probably speak more to that. But how does Hershey's train staff on food allergies? And do you think that your commitment to safety stems from your son having food allergies?
I think hopefully it stems beyond that. So our motto for our group is food safety. I own it, I live it. And so we have actually a food safety culture manager also. So we have something big that FDA is talking a lot about now, but something that Hershey and other companies have had for years. And so it's that culture kind of instilling that you have to really own what you do, understand it, and it's not just a policy written in a book that you read and hopefully have to follow. You need to understand why it's important and kind of take that ownership and responsibility for what it is. So we have that mantra all the time. But for me, sort of managing the corporate programs, for sure, having a son with food allergy gives me a different perspective to look at it. As Jason mentioned, I can tell you before he was born, I didn't really know that many people that were close to me with food allergy. And the few I did, I don't think I put them in harm's way, but probably didn't take it as serious as I would now, just having that firsthand experience. So I think that's totally true. And bringing that perspective into work every day makes it real. Luckily, I said one of the reasons I came to Hershey was when they approached me to work on this kind of every day and thinking I would bring this unique perspective. And I've said this before, but I'm not as unique as I thought. There are a lot of people with food allergies or children with food allergies who work in the food industry. Maybe they're not an exact title that I would have, but they're all over the organization. And having those perspectives is super important also because we have that in marketing, on the production floor, in sales, in research and development when they're designing new products. So they're bringing that view to their teammates, to what we're doing every day also. And so in training, we have new employees get trained on allergens as part of their onboarding. We have specific training in the plants or by function. Marketers might have different training than someone working on the lines. Then we have refresher training annually, and those are more like animation videos. There's quizzes at the end. They've got to show proficiency or that you understood. But then we also try to build in some unique things throughout and try to make that experience real. So some things we've done in the past is we had a group of about a dozen food allergic consumers who sent us in kind of a picture of themselves with their child, describe their hobbies, what they like to do, the allergies that they had, and then their preferences. Do they trust labels? Do they avoid items in the same facility as their allergens? Whatever it was. And we had a training, we ran through for a week. Every day at lunch, we had different groups of employees come in from all across the company. We gave kind of a presentation on food allergy, not so much the management, but what it means to live with one, how we manage it. And then we had them shop our company store for products. that met each group got one of these consumers profiles, shopped our company store for products, and then at the end, myself and a couple other people in my group, we reviewed everything and then shipped that out to them for helping us make that experience real. And part of what it showed them is, hey, you can't, from our labels or most food labels, you can't necessarily make the decision of what you're comfortable with if you avoid everything in a facility, for example. That information is not always on the label. So it was kind of eye-opening for them and give an idea of not only the importance of what we do, but also the challenges that food allergy consumers may face in making choices.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, that's a great exercise, not only to show, empathy for the customers on the other end, but just a great learning experience for your staff that may not have a direct connection with food allergies like you do.
Well, and it really shows the company's commitment, because you take it beyond the training. I mean, you force them to live the experience, and that's how you learn. I mean, that's just wonderful. So we really are grateful. And we're also grateful for Hershey and its innovation. I mean, we understand that there's a new plant-based chocolate bar coming out here soon. It sounds like you might have been making that with some of our families and community in mind. Can you talk to us a little bit more about this this new chocolate bar coming out?
Yeah, so this one is a test market. There's lots of plant-based alternatives now, vegan options, and all kinds of products, not just candy. So this is kind of a test market. It's a different foray for Hershey, right? Because we have milk. Milk is a lot of things we do, a lot of milk chocolate. So this is kind of limited availability right now, but just sort of seeing interest when people buy something like this from Hershey is something they're interested in beyond the food allergic community. So it is something we get interest from certainly dairy allergic individuals also to have items like this. And because we have milk in so many items, it is something that I've seen already in the last couple of weeks, tons of articles and excitement about it. So
and it's oat, right? Oat milk?
Yeah, it's oat flour.
Oat flour. Okay, yeah. Oat flour. Yeah, I did a quick Google search, but I didn't see everything. But there is almonds in one of the varieties, I think I saw.
Yep, there's a dark
and
creamy one, and then a dark almond. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm definitely going to try it.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's manufacturing a lot of dark chocolate items or chocolate items have cross-contact risk for milk, so it does create complexities in finding a manufacturing location, especially if it's not like the sole company focus is, say, non-dairy products or something like that. So it does add challenges there when you scale it up, but it'll be seems to be generating a lot of buzz so far.
Oh yeah, no, we're delighted to hear about it. We actually hope the test market is near the Washington D.C. area, frankly, so we could try some. I got to ask, Tiffany and I were talking at the outset about our favorite candies, and so I got to flip this over to you, Kevin. I know choosing a favorite candy may be a tough one for a guy who works at Hershey. It's sort of choosing which child is your favorite. But really, I know you're sporting a Kit Kat gear, a little Kit Kat jersey there, pullover. So give us a sense of your favorite candies.
So I'm going to say, growing up, it was a peanut item. So I lived at the end of my neighborhood was a baseball card shop and a 7-Eleven. And I would take my allowance or lawn mowing money, whatever it was. I would go up there and get a Slurpee, some baseball cards, and a whatchamacallit. Maybe that's a weird candy bar for a kid. I don't know. It's not one of the ones people think about that often, but that was my favorite thing. So I haven't had a whatchamacallit in a while now because I don't bring peanut stuff into the house. I will eat other like Reese items at work sometimes. And Take 5 was another favorite. There was a peanut item, but now I think like the Mint Duo's Kit Kat is one of my favorites. I really like that dark chocolate mint combination, and that is probably what I would say today.
I mean, I'm a purist. If like we're going Kit Kat, we're going to go classic Kit Kat. Same thing with the Reese's. I feel like they've done so many different things with the Reese's cups, with the white chocolate or something in the inside. But again, I'm a purist. I'm going to go with the classic. But I think Hershey's has a lot of varieties to choose from. It's hard.
Yeah. That's the goal, I think, obviously from a business perspective, but even for food allergy is to have a lot of variety in the portfolio so we can have, we use almost every allergen in some product here and there, but to have trusted choices and options within there is something we keep in mind beyond just what type of product would the general consumer like, to try and have that trusted choices within there as well for the food allergic community.
Well, I know we appreciate it. And Kevin, where can people find you if they want to either follow you on Twitter or on Instagram or any of that because we want to make sure folks, if they want to continue the conversation with you, how would they do that, sir?
They probably won't. I'm not very active on social media.
Well, that's fine.
I don't have Instagram. I do have a Twitter account, like a personal Twitter account, but my wife gives me a hard time. I got it to document our first drive back from Wisconsin to Virginia when we moved Midwest. So I just tweeted stupid things like maybe stopped at Cracker Barrel in Indiana. And I have a couple of followers from that kind of stuff, but really nothing. So
well, I know
I'm an anomaly there.
Yeah, no, Hershey's got a great social media profile, so we can include that in the podcast notes afterwards. So that's fine.
Okay.
Any final thoughts or tips and tricks for this Halloween season as we send our listeners off to go trick or treat?
Yeah, no, I think hopefully we're able to have fun and it'll be a little bit maybe more in-person type interactions than last year. We'll see. But as far as candy goes, we hope most of our options essentially for Halloween stay the same as year round. So I know there tends to be concern that maybe seasonal candies might not have the same profile. And for the most part, we try to take that into account when we're developing things so that if you trust an item during the rest of the year, that a Halloween item might be in a different wrapper with a theme, with a Halloween-based theme or picture, but to try and keep that same profile, because something that's important is to try and keep kind of consistency and try to take away some of that confusion as much as possible.
That's awesome. I actually thank you for bringing that up. I feel like we should have asked about that because I do know that there are, like you said, different wrappers or maybe different shapes sometimes when it's seasonal. I know like Halloween or Easter or Christmas. So that's a great point to end on. Well, thank you, Kevin. It's been great. I learned a ton and I hope our listeners did too. Jason, any final thoughts from you?
No, I really admire Kevin for your work and your living your mission. And we are so grateful for you for coming on board and sharing with us all the fantastic work that Hershey's is doing. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you all for what you do too. And thanks for having me today.
Well, that was great hearing from Kevin. And now we hear from FAIR CEO, Lisa Gable. Lisa, welcome on board.
Great to see everybody today.
Indeed. Well, as you know, it is the most wonderful time of the year for folks who have sweet tooths. And Tiffany and I were already talking about sort of our favorite candy. And we wanted to find out from you. So what's your candy of choice? And has it always stayed that way, or have you varied over the years?
My candy of choice is chocolate. Hands down, it's chocolate. And if they want to put chocolate in cookies, if you want to put chocolate as a box alone by itself, or if you want to put it in ice cream, I am always happy with chocolate.
That's fantastic.
I totally agree. I mentioned two of my favorites, Rolos, which are chocolate stuffed with caramel, or Milk Duds, which is essentially the same thing. But give me a good chocolate chip cookie or Ben & Jerry's fish food with those dark chocolate chips in there. Yeah, I'm definitely all for that.
That's my favorite. That one right there. That is the, I think I'm depressed. I need Ben & Jerry's fish food.
That is
Any
fantastic.
excuse.
I join. I'm the third in a row on fish food. I won't kid you. And I like to microwave it for about 5 seconds to get it nice and soft for the marshmallow to just sort of, melt down just a smidge. So the spoon goes in nice and easy.
Interesting.
And hacking at it is a bad idea.
I hate hacking at my Ben & Jerry's. I want to get to it. I don't want to wait. So there you go. Not a lot of
now you're starting to make me hungry. Now I just want ice cream for dinner.
Well, that's all a-okay. Earlier, Lisa, Tiffany and I were talking about Halloween and, Tiffany's son, James, they've got to decide what baby James is going to be dressed up as for his first Halloween. And my son was a court jester, and we wanted to find out from you, what about your daughter? What was one of your favorite Halloween costumes for your daughter?
Well, she was a princess girl, princesses all the time. So I'm not even sure it was just Halloween, because we used to have to give her instructions that she couldn't wear her princess outfit to church. She couldn't wear it out to dinner. But very funny story. Once I had to take someone to the airport and she wanted to go to church with a friend of ours. And so she goes, and apparently had the princess outfit under her clothes. And so when they went up to communion, my daughter did a little striptease and took off her church outfit, and underneath was her entire Disney princess outfit. So she to this day still loves her tiaras.
Classic. That's amazing. I love that.
Me too. And I don't know how to respond to like the princess costume underneath, or the fact that when she goes up to get the to take the offering, it's just like, well, wait a minute, before you give me the blessing, before you give me the cup or the bread, I'm going to show you what I'm wearing.
Yeah, it was all the little old ladies at church have still told me about that. They were not impressed. You sort of walk into the church after I took the friend to the airport, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, okay, what happened?
Did you used to go trick-or-treating with your daughter?
We did. We live on a farm, and so there's no way you could trick or treat at our house. And our community, which is a wonderful community of about 500 to 1,500 families, if you pull in from the other villages, had hay rides. They had trick or treating as a group through the community, including all the stores would do trick or treating. It's a really big night, and something that I miss terribly now that she is an adult and she doesn't live at home. But you are going to have such a fabulous time now that you have a young son to go through all of this with.
Yeah, I loved Halloween growing up. We used to go over to my cousin's neighborhood and do some trick-or-treating, and then we would go to our neighborhood, and there was just like one another way to like prolong the candy getting throughout the day. It was great. So Fair has an initiative called Teal Pumpkin. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Well, we love Teal Pumpkin. We really do. And it was an idea that was created by one of our support group leaders, Becky Basiloni, many years ago, where she thought that it would be very important to ensure that all children felt included in the Halloween experience. And so by placing a teal pumpkin on your porch, you signal that you have non-food treats available for kids who might have food allergies. And I recently had a mom whose child had severe diabetes, and she was thanking me for Teal Pumpkin because it also benefited her child too. And so it's wonderful. We're so excited. We're also very excited that this year we have the generous support of Allergy Insider, an allergy education platform from Thermo Fisher Scientific. And that's going to enable us to reach even more participants than we ever have before. In addition, we are bringing new information to our community, and then through a next generation popular interactive app where families can showcase where and how they're going to participate in the Teal Pumpkin Project. And for all that enter their information into the map, they will be getting the opportunity to win a prize. And we are giving away 3 $500 American Express gift certificates. So we really want to make sure that you put your information in the map. And then secondly, that you have your Teal Pumpkin out. And most importantly, that you have really fun treats for kids that are non-food treats that you can get from Oriental Trading Company. You can get from the dollar store. You don't need to spend a lot of money. Kids are happy with fun pencils and pads, paper, coloring and crayons and jacks and balls. So just let yourself be creative and participate in any way that fits your pocketbook.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I saw the interactive map on Fair's website. It looks really cool. It's definitely something new that we have this year. So I'm glad that we are promoting that. So you can see who in your neighborhood has a teal pumpkin before you even venture out.
It's fantastic. No, I was just going to say it's fantastic because I've been talking to people who now have adult children. And when Teal Pumpkin started, they came up to me and they go, we printed out that map every single year, and we really would decide where we were going for Halloween. And it's just lovely meeting people everywhere who that has been such an empowering experience, and so wonderful for our children to be full participants in Halloween.
Indeed. And I mean, it's a great, safe alternative, and it just makes everyone really happy. As someone who didn't have Teal Pumpkin and had to give away everything in my little candy pumpkin to my older brother, I hated it as Halloween. I would come home with a lot and end up with very little, but oh well. Not that I'm bitter or anything or have that memory burned into my skull. Lisa, is there anything else you want to share with us about Teal Pumpkin?
Absolutely. So this year, we are also going to have a billboard in Times Square. So
Whoa.
very exciting. That's the first time that we've ever done this with teal pumpkin. So we are really, I know that last Halloween was kind of a rough experience. Not everybody got to have that full participation. It was fun to see the incredibly creative ways that people were developing shoots to get candy out to children and get those non-food treats out to children. But at the same time, we want everybody to be safe, and we recognize that there's still some concern, but we are so happy that our kids can get out and about, and that we have Thermo Fisher as a major sponsor of this activity. We have the map, and we're going to have our presence in Times Square.
That's amazing. I love that, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I just think it's great visibility for FAIR. It's whether it's the Dolphins or whether it's the Billboard, it's great to see FAIR on the move and really building our brand beyond beyond the folks that we serve on a daily basis. So it's wonderful to hear that, Lisa. That is fantastic. Tiffany, Lisa, is there anything else you'd like to share?
So we just want everybody to have a safe Halloween. Enjoy yourself. Send us pictures. We look forward to seeing pictures of everybody on Facebook and seeing what you dressed up for and what your kids dressed up like and what you did for your families. And again, just thank you so very, very much for being part of our teal pumpkin process.
Well, then on behalf of Lisa Gable, Tiffany and Leon, and myself, Jason Linde, that's going to wrap us up for this month's podcast. We really appreciate you listening to us. Please rate and review us so we can grow in the rankings. It's always good for the algorithm and for us, frankly. Please, 5 stars, 4 stars is okay, but 5 we'd really appreciate. Anyway, we look forward to chatting with you next month when we talk Thanksgiving, and have a great Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yep. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.